Coming up on FSU Headlines. Florida State climbs the national rankings again. FSU student veterans bring a world premiere to campus. And a window to honor a former university president. Stay tuned for these stories and more. FSU Headlines starts now. Hello and welcome to another edition of FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker coming to you from Florida State University in Tallahassee. And what a great time it is to be here as Florida State has done it again. For the second year in a row, FSU has jumped 5 places in the national rankings for public universities. FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn has more.
For the second time in as many years, Florida State University is moving up in the national rankings. The rankings appear in the newly released 2017 edition of U.S. News and World Report's America's Best Colleges.
Other people out around the country are taking notice of the progress that Florida State's making, and we've made a lot of progress over the last 2 years. As you said, we've moved up 10 slots in the U.S. News and World Report, which is kind of the gold standard for evaluating public universities. It means our faculty is doing well, the quality of our students are well, the programs are good, and all of those things are coming together to make FSU truly a preeminent university, not only in the state of Florida, but in the United States.
This year, FSU is firmly planted at number 33 among all public national universities. Last year, Florida State was ranked number 38 among public universities. That was a jump from number 43 just 2 years ago. So 10 places in 2 years. It's not an easy feat, but it is a recognition of all the efforts across the university to continue to improve on what has always been an outstanding college experience at Florida State.
Certainly for our current students and those who have recently graduated, to go and tell an employer or another academic institution you may want to go for a higher degree, that you graduated from one of the top public universities in America is a very positive thing.
Florida State's excellent graduation and student retention rates are the driving force behind FSU's ranking among the nation's best public universities.
The other thing I'm very proud of is that we continue to really focus on diversity here. So when you look at our graduation rates, there's no disparity between our African American, our Hispanic, and our other students. I'm very proud of that, and I think it's a real marker of who we are as an institution.
Florida State continues to make long-term investments in faculty hiring and compensation, which also played a big role in the increase in the overall ranking. But it's not all about the number. It's really about what it says about the university and the degree that the students are earning from Florida State.
All of those things added together make this a place that people want to come to, and they're going to know that they're going to be able to achieve their hopes and dreams and really move on to their careers, whether it's in further education or out in the workforce.
For FSU Headlines, I'm Mark Vaughn.
Florida State ranked 43rd among national public universities in 2015. Now the university holds the number 33 spot. That's 10 spots in just 2 years. What an accomplishment. In other news, new research by a Florida State University professor of chemistry suggests that the theory of quantum mechanics does not adequately explain how the heaviest and rarest elements on the periodic table actually function. The research is turning the scientific world upside down.
And the difficulty in observing this is the only elements where these effects are really strong are very hard to work with. And so the big discovery that we made was for about the past 5 years, we've been working with the last elements that you can work with that are stable even for short periods of time on Earth, and those elements are berkelium and californium. What we found in the 4th berkelium compound we prepared, which is, by the way, only the 4th berkelium compound ever really well characterized, is that there's a certain set of rules that govern how electrons line up around atoms. Okay, and chemists call those rules Hund's rules. And what we found out is berkelium was breaking those rules, and it turned out the reason that the rules were being violated is because the effects of relativity were becoming so large that the theories that were given all the way back in the 1920s that provided these rules, they made certain assumptions that really aren't true when relativity is playing a big role. And so what we're finding is in elements like berkelium and californium, which are very, very difficult to work with, is that you're seeing kinds of chemistry and kinds of quantum mechanical behavior that you simply don't see in light elements. So it's, as someone was joking earlier, it is almost like being in an alternative universe because you're seeing chemistry that you don't see with day-to-day elements. When you look at how the field was when you started and you fast forward 20 years later and realize that you know, you've had an impact on the overall field, that's pretty exhilarating. It's really humbling. You know, I have a tough time wrapping my mind around it a lot of the time.
And Professor Albrecht Schmidt's research was funded by the U.S. Department of Energy. Stranger things indeed. For 7 years, Florida State's Collegiate Veterans Association and the FSU College of Motion Picture Arts have united to bring award-winning films to campus. But this year's Veterans Film Festival marked a first. It hosted a world premiere, screening the new documentary film Apache Warrior for the first time anywhere. Take a look.
I want to welcome you to the 7th Annual Veteran Film Festival, where we work to raise the awareness and understanding of the veteran experience.
It is through the power of cinema that we're able to bring people together, to challenge their perceptions, and to provide a unique catharsis that reminds us that no matter how different or divided we may seem, we are all bonded together in the struggle of the human journey.
We're really proud that the films create unity. Right now as a country, we're very divided, you know, on every level, and it seems to keep getting worse. And when you show these films, you'll have 400, 500, 600 people come into a theater as individuals and they leave as one. It doesn't matter if they're left or right. It's about being American and about, you know, creating a better effect for our country and our citizens by people understanding what's going on when folks deploy. Because everybody says thank you for your service, right? After they've seen one of our movies, they know why.
Right. We've been to probably 75 or 100 different schools over the course of this 5-year period. And there is no school, and I went to SMU and I love SMU and we're very patriotic in Texas, but there's no school like Florida State, not even close.
Since its inception in 2011, the Veterans Film Festival has been an important component of Florida State's effort to promote greater understanding of the veteran experience. It's a pleasure to welcome the film's directors David Saltzberg and Christian Turow to the stage, along with Paul Cohen and Chris Schoenberg. Welcome back, gentlemen, to Florida State University. You're always welcome. I hope you know that. It's now my honor to confer on you both the 2017 Florida State University Torchlight Award for annual filmmaking. Congratulations, and thank you again for your great service to America.
You know, collectively, what FSU is doing as a university and as a veteran-friendly university is amazing. You know, coincidentally, we have these incredible stories, and you all come together as one to make a difference. And if we help one person tonight at the event, just one person, we did something bigger than ourselves, which is what service is about.
And this year marks the third time co-directors David Saltzberg and Christian Turow have brought one of their films to Florida State University for the Veterans Film Festival. Florida State opened 2 new residence halls this fall. Magnolia Hall and Azalea Hall are 6 stories high and are bright, spacious, and comfortable, and provide a more contemporary option for students than their predecessors. The new residence halls feature suite-style rooms, with each 2-bedroom suite housing 4 students. The 2 new halls round out the set of 4 new residence halls, now open for students on campus.
It's important for us to have these kinds of wonderful facilities for our students. You know, it's, as we talked about, it's more than just a place to sleep. It's a place for them to meet other people, to study, to have events. It's a new modern era of residence halls that frankly are making a difference in the success of our students, and that's what it's about.
The start of the fall semester brought a brand new school to Florida State University.
Our students who were in the College of Business currently felt the excitement of the new classes that we were developing. Can I take those classes? Can I be in those?
We'll show you how the brand new Moran School of Entrepreneurship got started when FSU Headlines continues in a moment.
What does preeminence look like.
Moonlight, Best Picture.
Florida State University.
When you buy a Florida State University license plate,
you're not just showing your school spirit.
You're supporting students like us.
In the lab,
in the classroom,
and in the library.
Putting this tag on your vehicle helps Florida State students achieve their dreams. So show your pride. Purchase an FSU license plate today.
Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker. After President Obama's oldest daughter, Malia, announced she was taking a year off between high school and college, the gap year concept gained major momentum here in the United States. But well before Malia made her decision, Florida State University was ahead of the curve, not only supporting the gap year concept for students, but putting money for students behind it. FSU Headlines reporter Cara Irby has more.
It's just a really amazing experience to get to mature and to come into my own person outside of a classroom.
That's Emma Moody. She's one of a select group of students who make up the inaugural cohort of Florida State University's Gap Year Fellows program. A gap year is defined by the American Gap Association as a structured educational experience in which students engage in new environments and new roles in order to catalyze their development as thinkers and citizens and get ready for their time in college.
We'd all gone to school from kindergarten to 12th grade and just had no breaks. And so I really got to live life and learn who I was outside of a school environment.
And while these students are meeting for the first time since their gap year experiences, other soon-to-be Seminoles are spending their gap year in places like China and Zambia.
We've added a portion to our program to help them at the very beginning of the summer to work through the plan of what they're going to do for the next year. So how to budget, where they're going to go.
Kimberly Reed serves as the program's director. She says although they have made changes to improve the program, the inaugural group had many worthwhile experiences, like those of Tallahassee native Emma Jo McCullough, who spent 3 months of her gap year working with children in Cambodia.
I really grew a lot in Cambodia because it's so different from anything in America, of course. You see so many things that you just don't see over here. And it was really rewarding being with other volunteers that were from around the world. And I just really learned a lot from living with those people who were ambitious but also really cared about other people.
McCullough also spent time in the Philippines. It was one of 16 countries another gap year fellow, Hannah Oler, visited as well. As a military kid, Oler was used to traveling, so spending an entire year doing so before starting college felt natural for her.
Florida State offering this was a relief to me because I knew that I had wanted to take a gap year anyway, and for there to be a program that assisted me through that and encouraged it was really inspiring. It was really lovely. Like I could not have asked anything better from any university.
Florida State offers up to $5,000 to gap year fellows to support their experience and is only the second public institution in the nation to provide some sort of funding.
We're really leading the way in helping to include a more diverse student body within these gap year experiences because we know that they can be transformational. We know that students benefit from them, and we just want to see all types of students coming and participating in those programs and then coming to FSU.
For more information on the program, visit cre.fsu.edu. Click Programs, then choose FSU Gap Year Fellows. For Florida State Headlines, I'm Cara Irby.
Ring the bell. Classes have started at Florida State University's brand new Jim Moran School of Entrepreneurship. Florida State built the Jim Moran School with the help of a record $100 million gift from Jan Moran and the Jim Moran Foundation in 2015. Over the past year and a half, faculty members and entrepreneurs developed a unique core curriculum designed to prepare students for real-world challenges in their own businesses and existing companies. FSU Headlines caught up with some of the students in the school and director as well as entrepreneur in residence Susan Fiorito to talk about the challenges of being the very first students as well as the excitement surrounding the first of its kind school.
Everyone's excited. Of course, our building is going to open in December, so people are excited about that. We'll have a place that we can have events with the community. And we didn't have that before. It's hard to get community people to come to campus. Well, we'll have this gorgeous building where we can have speakers from downtown. We're going to have mentor nights. And so we're going to have community people coming into an insurance night, a retail night, a nonprofit night, and they can meet with students in a comfortable living room setting that we're going to have on our first floor and just talk with them one-on-one.
Elsewhere on campus, a former Florida State University president is now honored in glass. Florida State recently unveiled the newest stained glass window in FSU's Heritage Museum. The window recognizes the university's 12th president, Sandy Dalembert. The stained glass window was created by the Florida State University Master Craftsman Studio and symbolizes the tremendous legacy of Dalembert and his impact on Florida State University and its storied history. Family, friends, and the university community gathered in the historic Heritage Museum in Dodd Hall for the special ceremony to honor President Emeritus Dalembert and unveil the newest addition to the collection of stained glass windows.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed being here. I've seen so many old friends and faculty and even relatives who I haven't seen. And I have relatives who are members of the Dodd family. And they were here today. And to have an event at Dodd Hall in the old reading room of Florida State College for Women Library is just thrilling to me. So this was just totally joyous. So thank you so much.
Dalembert served as president from 1994 to 2003. It's another record-breaking year for Dance Marathon at FSU that benefits local children. Dance Marathon at Florida State University raises money year-round during its annual campaign for the kids. But it all culminates with a 48-hour dance marathon each spring. This past year, FSU Dance Marathon broke its own record, raising more than $1.8 million for the FSU College of Medicine and its outreach programs, as well as the Children's Miracle Network and UF Health Shands Hospital. Recently, Dance Marathon at FSU and the Children's Miracle Network presented a check of more than $915,000 to the FSU College of Medicine during an event celebrating the accomplishments of the past year.
Well, the Dance Marathon check presentation is really the culmination of a year's worth of work for these dancers that danced in March, and they raised an incredible total this year, and we get to share in that total, and then it comes to us, and we actually get to distribute it to the local community for the care of kids, whether it's care in the hospital setting and the TMH, whether it's care at Bond Community Health Center, whether it's care at Big Bend Hospice, or the variety of different programs we also work with. It's really care to this community. It really makes a big difference.
Well, coming up next on FSU Headlines, we'll head out to the soccer pitch to see how the Seminoles are preparing to defend their ACC crown this year. And we'll also take a look at volleyball's run through the conference when FSU Headlines continues in a moment. Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker. The football season got off to a rocky start here at Florida State University, but the team and Coach Fisher bounced back, and the first chance for redemption was Wake Forest, and then the rivalry with Miami. FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn joins us now to tell us all about it and what's next for the Noles. Mark?
Thanks, Dennis. Well, the Seminoles football team came into the 2017 season with some pretty high hopes and a pretty high ranking. But ever since that first game loss with Alabama, it's been a struggle. Florida State having to deal with the loss of starting quarterback DeAndre Francois, then Hurricane Irma canceling the Louisiana Monroe game, and postponing the Miami game that led to several weeks without a game until the first road game against Wake Forest. The Noles using some late game heroics to go on the road and get a much needed win in what was actually the fourth game on their schedule, but only their second game of the year. 1 week later, and it's Miami at home in Doak for a big rivalry matchup. And what a game it was. A defensive struggle in the first half gave way to offensive fireworks later in the game. But it was a late TD by Miami that seals the win for the Hurricanes, a loss for the Noles again, but it was the first in this series in 7 years. Florida State's third loss on the young season, certainly not the way the Noles wanted to start the year. They will look to bounce back versus tough ACC opponents throughout the rest of the schedule in October. Duke, Louisville, Clemson, all still left on the schedule. On to the soccer pitch, and the Seminoles trying to improve on their early non-conference schedule, now firmly into ACC play. The Noles playing some inspired soccer in games against Virginia Tech, NC State, and Boston College, picking up shutout wins in each of those games, 2-0, 1-0, and 3-0, respectively, the scores there. Then it was a big matchup on the road at Duke that saw the Noles fall for the second time in ACC play. The final in Durham, 2-0, Duke with the shutout on Florida State. Florida State still with some time to improve and fight for the conference title by the end of the season. It'll be tough, though, with matchups with Wake, Notre Dame, Pitt, and Clemson still left on the ACC schedule. Finally, in sports, we head indoors to the volleyball court and take a look at the Seminoles and their play heading into the heart of the ACC schedule. They have a 9-5 mark. A sweep of rival Miami gave the Noles a little momentum heading back into the conference, but a loss to Pitt stifled that momentum pretty quickly. The Noles will look to pick things up quickly with no time to waste, looking at a tough road through the schedule in the month of October and into November. Big games against Duke, Louisville, and North Carolina, all big opponents in the ACC, will await the Seminoles before another huge matchup with the Hurricanes, but this time it's not in Tully Gym, it's on the road in Coral Gables. You can see their full schedule and check out what they're up to on Seminoles.com. And of course, remember, you can keep up with all Seminole athletics on Seminoles.com. That's going to do it for us here. Let's send things back to you, Dennis.
In our final headline today, we take a look back at Hurricane Irma. The storm left devastation in South Florida and the Keys. So when the hurricane spared the Tallahassee area, Florida State University lent a helping hand to its neighbors down south.
Our objective is to fill 1,000 bags, right?
We've seen the damage that's happened in South Florida, and after what happened in Texas too with Hurricane Harvey, we've seen the devastation and what people have been going through. Even here, we knew there was no water in the grocery stores, and we didn't even get hit. Food was hard to come by, you couldn't get gas, so we know it has to be much worse in South Florida. And we have a lot of athletes from that area, and we know how many families have been broken apart by this or separated from their home, lost everything they had, and if we can do anything to help them, that's what we want to do. We're so fortunate to be here, and there's a lot of people who weren't that lucky.
Seeing the effect Irma had on my mother and my family out in Florida, I think it's only, like I said, only best to get out here and to see Florida State administration, athletes, students involved in many different organizations out here wanting to get involved in Greek life especially. I think it's important for us to see that, and I think this is awe-inspiring to see different many students out here from different backgrounds and different outlets, and I think it's amazing.
We have students here, student athletes. It's amazing. This turnout probably 3 times bigger than we thought we would have, but our students responded, and that's really what Florida State's about. We talk about family, we really do at Florida State, and you know, it's a word, but I think when you see things like this, it really shows the kids believe in the university, they believe in the values of the university, and that they're willing to participate and they're willing to give back.
It's wonderful, the partnership, because with government sometimes people may shy away or may not realize that we have hands with other partners, with other areas of the community, and Florida State has the space, has the students, has the volunteers, they have the resources, and we had the resources, so it was a perfect match of bringing supplies with the space and the people together to help our neighbors.
I think what Florida State University is doing today is absolutely fantastic. I think what these students are doing today is just beyond description. When you think about all that's going on in our state, to know that our university students here at Florida State are now taking their energy, taking their excitement, and they're going to transfer that excitement down to someone in South Florida who's going to receive one of these packages. We've got folks that we know are not in their homes. We have people that we understand are still in shelters. And for these university students to take the time and really do this, you know, they're having fun. They're doing this with joy in their hearts, and they're making a commitment to our state and to their fellow citizens. It's just inspiring to me to see something like this going on.
And I think it's great that Florida State, our first thing was to care for their students by having events within the Seminoles Club. They gave us food, they cared about us, and I think that really made me want to be here today, because it made me want to give back to my university and give back to the people within Florida. And thinking about that, I think after this I'm going to continue to give back and continue to stay invested in the communities, because I understand the importance of giving back.
It's a way of getting our students back together, getting over the hurricane and moving on. So everybody's happy, everybody's enjoying the hot dogs and hamburgers. Great day for Florida State.
I feel like it's a very great thing that Florida State is doing, opening its doors to its students just in case they don't have food. So now we can come here, fill our stomachs, and go back home. I follow a lot of Florida State's official Twitters, so I saw one profile tweet that they were having this year, and I was like, I might as well come in, get some free food.
I bought everything in a can to prepare for the hurricane, so I really only had like canned meat, canned stuff, so this was great having extra hot food, yeah. And appreciate it. Good food. And it's cooked food too, because not everyone has power to cook. It has corn and fruit.
I love being around the students, I always have. One of the best things about my job is being around the students. They're all great, they're great.
I ate hot dogs, burgers, pasta, chips, and salad.
That's going to do it for this edition of FSU Headlines, but you can see more news from Florida State University anytime at news.fsu.edu. It's the official news website of Florida State University. For everyone here at Florida State, I'm Dennis Schnitker. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.